What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Nickel City Rush Hour. We got a fun packed show for you tonight. We're going to be doing the first mock draft 1.0 on the Rush Hour show. Joining me will be Jake Podger, my co host, as always, and our good friend Sean Kula from the Red, White, and Bills. We're going to be talking to a Chiefs fan who's became a fan of the show. A real nice gentleman. Going to talk about a little bit, his story with the Chiefs and how it feels to be a Chiefs fan, and ask him some questions like Taylor Swift. Is he a big fan of Taylor Swift? And then we're going to talk something about, and I hope most of you from Buffalo are bowlers. We're going to talk a little bowling with you. And be ready, because this was a fantastic thing back in the 70s and 80s, and it's still a thing. Professional bowlers are still out there. All that and more. We'll get into it right after this beautiful intro. Let's go. Welcome back, everyone. That pumps me up, that little intro right there. Hope everyone's fired up for this one tonight. Jake, when we are doing the intro there, I noticed you wearing something there. It looks pretty cool to me. Talk to me. Is that a Nickel City Mafia polo right there?
It sure is. This is our official first protocol of some Nickel City Mafia merch, Mike. I'm repping it tonight. My cousin Johnny Houck, shout out to him. He's got his own business, Big Stitching Embroidery, and the guy's killing it. He just kind of got started with this. He bought himself a nice embroidery machine. By nice, I mean a $15,000 machine.
Wow.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say that out loud, but the thing is legit as it comes. I don't know if I sent you a video, but I'll have to send you one because it is awesome, and he does some really cool designs. He's based right here in Buffalo. He's actually Lackawanna, and he does it right out of his house right now. But he's been at some pop-up shops, and yeah, he's starting to make a little bit of a name for himself. So he's got his own shop, as you're showing here. He's got a bunch of different designs, and he's really leaned into the whole Buffalo theme. I know he's going to be doing some Dingus Day and St. Patty's Day stuff too. He's got the different Zubaz logos, as you can see. He's got the Buffalo Wing Bills logo, which is awesome. But yes, he said, let me hook you guys up with some different designs and whatnot. And he's like, let me try my hand at it. So I just sent him our logo, and he put it on a nice polo for me. By the way, thanks for doing it in black, Johnny. It's very slimming. So I appreciate that, because you put me in a white shirt, it might not look as good. So no, I think he did a hell of a job. And he says this isn't even his best work. He's like, I'm actually not super happy with how it turned out, but I'm wearing it. I'm representing it, and I love it. And listen, I'm looking forward to a nice partnership with him. And Mike, I know you copied the description, and you got the website in our description as well of the show. So yeah, awesome.
Yeah, there's even something for Sean here. I know Sean Kula here. He's on phone right now. He's got something going on where he can't be on. But I mean, as far as showing himself, but he'll be on hopefully a little bit later. But he's going to be talking through his phone. That's why you don't see his picture. But we got something for him as well. Oh man, I hear the dog going a little bit crazy here. I mean, you guys hear her?
Oh, I hear her. Yeah.
Oh man, she usually doesn't bark.
That's the good luck dog, though, Mike. So maybe it's going to bring us some more luck. You know,
it is the good luck dog. But here you go, Sean. This is your tumbler. It is just so we're clear, I don't give a F. I will not say that, but I'm just saying this is all you, Sean.
Oh, I love that. So you know what? I think that applies very well, Sean. I love it. I think at times, with the Bills, especially this past year, you've gotten to that point a few times, which I think we've all kind of been there this year. But yes, I would say that embodies Sean Kula right there.
Yeah, we all need to be to that point.
I want to say hi to the Trek reviewer. He's coming in saying the Bills need to get a. Oh, hold on a sec here. Why don't you read these comments and let me see what's
Yeah,
going on
yeah.
with this dog here.
No problem.
Go
Trek
ahead.
reviewer, listen, Trek reviewer gave me an F on the AFC East Summit show when we did our first mock draft. I don't think he liked my pick of Byron Murphy. He also didn't like that I didn't go with some running backs. I know he wants some size there with, some different options there, especially Audric Estime from Notre Dame, Braylon Allen, another guy. I think, I definitely agree with what you're saying here. I would love to get Tavondre Sweat. I think that would be incredible. Obviously, if we can't bring back Daquan Jones, this is a cheaper and younger option and a guy that I think is going to develop into an incredible pro when he comes into the league here. You talk about Brendan Rice and Johnny Wilson. I know you're a big Johnny Wilson guy. That dude has size. I think the biggest issues we've seen with Johnny Wilson coming into this draft and a lot of the knock on him is that he struggles at points to remain concentrated and catch the football. But I like him. I would take him in a heartbeat. Absolutely. And Brendan Rice, I mean, great bloodlines. Jerry Rice's son, also very good size, 6'3". He's a bigger guy, can go up and get it. So would love to see that. And yeah, he mentioned Audric Estime as well, running back from Notre Dame. Bigger back, didn't drop a single pass in his career at Notre Dame, although he wasn't really primarily used as a pass catcher. But the fact that he can do it and he showed consistency with it, also a huge plus, can bring a nice change of pace with James Cook in the backfield as well. So, yeah.
Got Big Al out there saying nice shirt. Yeah, good to see you out
Yeah.
there, Big Al. And then Roy Collins and both Trek reviewer showing some, they've got some love for bowling. Roy says, I used to watch celebrity bowling back in the 70s, celebrity bowling. But pro
Nice.
bowling was a big thing back in the 70s. Every Saturday, they had the top five battling out for the top prizes. So it was good stuff. Trek reviewer saying, let me get a chair in the lane so you can throw a ball over it and still get a strike. Throwing some trick shots. I love it. I've seen that before. But let's get into this mock draft here. And what we're going to do is 3 rounds. We're going to go for gold. And Trek Review, you're here. So we're going to, hopefully get your assistance so you're not mad and giving Jake an F. The only thing I didn't like what Jake did, I like what he did in the first. I like what he did in the second. I wasn't a big fan of going wide receiver in the third. But I did like he did make up for it with a nice safety pick in the 4th round, which was awesome. So let's see what we can do here. I've been doing some mocks. Oh my goodness, people are rising up the board already. And let me start with you, Jake. And I'm just going to ask you for these 3 rounds, give me the top 3 positions you're looking to fill.
Well, I think Trek Reviewer hit the nail on the head. Absolutely. My first priority is getting a weapon for Josh Allen. So I think you have to go receiver in the 1st round, unless a situation rises where most of those guys are already taken and you have to settle with Byron Murphy. It's hilarious that I'm saying you're settling with Byron Murphy. This guy, I think he's going to be an absolute stud in the league, and it also still fills a need at D tackle, which I say is our second need. We only have one defensive tackle on contract right now at Oliver. So I feel like taking a defensive tackle in the second, whether it's a 1 tech or a 3 tech, is extremely important, but it would be nice to pair Eddie Oliver with a bigger defensive tackle alongside him. So, yeah, I think those are the 2 biggest priorities. And I would say our 3rd priority, honestly, is safety. Now, our boy, Mr. Sean Cool, I'm going to let him elaborate a little bit on this, but he is a firm believer that we need to take Mitch Morse's replacement in this year's draft. And there's a very, very good prospect out of Oregon that this guy loves. So, Sean, I'm going to hand it to you for a hot second just to talk this guy up a little bit.
Yeah, well, I was telling Mike earlier. So going off my 3 needs would be either JPJ in the 1st round, and then a wide receiver and a D tackle. There's multiple avenues you can go with it. You could keep Mitch Morse, where he might have a couple years left. Offensive lineman shelf life isn't as much as people typically think. If you can get 8 to 10 years out of a lineman, that's pretty good. So you could draft JPJ. I'm gonna, his long name, so I'm just gonna do the 3
Jackson
letter.
Powers Johnson,
Yeah.
by the way, is his full name. Yes.
Yeah. So
I like JPJ though.
He could start on any team, but if for some reason we kept Morse and he's there at 28, he's a generational talent. So everybody was crying and moaning and complaining about us not getting Creed Humphrey that one year. This guy is twice the prospect that Creed Humphrey ever was, and he could come out and be that generational talent, in the middle of the offensive line. So me personally, my ideal scenario would be you keep Mitch Morse for his last year, you draft him in the first round at 28, or trade up for him. Then he can learn from Mitch Morse, because center, as much as it's a physical, position, it's a lot of mental and being the general of that offensive line. So it'd be nice to have a guy like Mitch Morse teach a guy like JPJ for a year. If we don't keep Morris, he could still start and be a contributing player. And I don't want Ryan Bates starting. That's another contract you can get off of. We're paying him $6 million a year to be a backup and never play. He's a waste of money and he's not good. So if we roll into next year with Ryan Bates, it's going to severely diminish the offensive line gains that we put on last year with Torrance and McGovern, because then they're going to have a bum next to them and it's going to be tough. So I would love to have that, but this guy, he's 6'3", 6'4", 325. He's great in run. He could he's great in pass blocking too, but he's got to work on it a little bit as far as the reports go. As of right now, he's got not a strength issue, but pass blocking isn't his best. But it's not bad enough where it's worrisome to me. So everyone's got their little things to work on, but I would absolutely love to get a guy like him. So
I like it, man. I think you hyped him up, and it's I think it's well deserved. I've been watching some tape on the kid, and he is a generational player. I definitely am with you on that. I think he is like the second coming of Creed Humphrey. Plays with a little bit of a mean streak in him too, and there was a guy. My brother played with him at Edinburgh, and I can't remember his name, but he ended up getting signed by the Chiefs as an undrafted free agent, and he basically told us, he's like, this dude is the best offensive lineman I've ever seen in my entire life. Creed Humphrey was talking about. So when you get comparisons to dudes like that, I mean, it's worth a shot. And I think that is a case where if he's on the board for whatever reason at 28, which I don't think he's going to be, but even in the 20s, if he's the best available player on the board, it's a conversation you need to have, because this wide receiver class is so deep. So I would not be
right.
opposed to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and and the other avenue, if you keep Morris, if you get rid of Morris, you save $8 million. So
Mhm.
you could go that route. So there's a lot of things that we can do. It all depends on how we go in free agency. Also, he's just a Aaron Cromer, and
Perfect fit.
he's our prototype offensive lineman how we have now. He's a
Yeah.
physical mover of man, and he would work perfect next to a guy like Torrance and McGovern. I mean, that would be, people say the Chiefs interior is the best out there now, but if you got JPJ, Torrance, and McGovern,
Nasty.
Torrance in year 2 and McGovern, who had his best season, and he had a lot of good years in Dallas. Um, in his first contract. And then you got Dawkins being Dawkins. And if Brown can continue to improve like he did last year, this is exactly the direction we need to go. And,
Yeah.
we'll have no problems. But again, as you guys say, the chances of him being there are slim. The only thing I can hope for is a lot of people need quarterbacks. And a lot of the people that might be picking early might already have centers or other needs that they need to get. So
Definitely.
we might get away with it, and plus we got 10 draft picks. So if we're at 28 and he's there at 21, we traded up 5 or 6 picks last year, a 4th round pick to get there to get Kincaid. So I don't see why we couldn't do that for him.
I'd love to hear what the channel thinks about going with a offensive lineman in the first round. So it's interesting take, Sean. I love it. Good stuff, Jake. Let's get into this. So it's going to be a 3-round draft, and we're not doing any trades. But what we will do is we'll look back at the players that were taken above the Bills, and like Sean just mentioned, potentially something we do to move up and get that person. So let's get into it. This is going to be fun. Let's see if we can. We're going for gold. Let's see if we can fill some gaps to kind of compete with the KC Chiefs there. And we got some folks over there in the thread in the channel. I want to thank you, Weston, for joining us, and of course, Chad the Chief. Chad the Chief's going to join us later. So let's get into this, guys. It's going to be fun.
Heck yeah.
All right, so let's start this clock here. No trades. Let's get it rolling here, and we'll look back again. I don't think you'll see many surprises, and he was already gone. I think Byron Murphy went early for your defensive tackle. But let's see who here is available here. So
Ooh.
let's
All
look.
right. Well, this is a no-brainer to me.
I know. Let's recap a little bit here. So there's your JPJ,
Yeah.
Jackson Power Johnson, going to Pittsburgh. And let's see here. Of course, there were no surprises at the top here. And by the way, I want to say this too. I've been looking at a lot of the analysts out there, CBS, ESPN. I've looked at 5 or 6 different analysts, and all of them have the Buffalo Bills taking a wide receiver. Now, that doesn't mean we should, and that doesn't mean that they follow this team as much as we do. But I'm just putting that out there. I mean, it's been hard to find a analyst taking someone else than a wide receiver.
Where did the Steelers pick?
20.
Steelers were at number 20.
20. I'm checking right now to see who their center is because I can't remember.
Right now, let me think about this. I might have to hit our lads. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I thought they just signed someone there.
That's what I'm saying. That's why
Yeah.
he might not even go there.
Mason Cole. Mason Cole is their center, actually.
Yeah.
He was with Minnesota. Yeah. It's probably, I mean, it makes sense. I think it still makes sense. It's an upgrade there for them. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely. If you can upgrade, you can upgrade. But, you know.
They know centers, too. I mean, you talk about some of the best centers that have played in NFL history, playing with the Steelers. So.
The only reason why I say that is because, like you said, they just signed him. If they signed him for like a 4-year deal, like for us, it makes sense because Morris is on his last year, or you can just get rid of him. So if you just signed a center to a 3 to 4 year deal, I don't think you're going to draft JPJ. But I trade up from 28 to 20.
I don't know, man. Well, here's the thing. So Brian Thomas is on the board. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I love what Trek Reviewer says, too. Jaden Daniels still on the board. I think Jake wants Jaden Daniels. No, listen. You know what? Trek Reviewer are right. I think we're ready to move on from Josh Allen. Let's take Jaden Daniels. No, this is a no-brainer. I mean, Brian Thomas, how the hell did he get to 28? Yeah. That's insane to me.
Yeah.
Well, Mike and I mentioned earlier when we were talking, Jake, if we do re-sign, we don't know. It's probably not going to happen. But if we did re-sign Gabe Davis, there's no need to draft a wide receiver in the first round because you still got Diggs for 2 to 3 more years, and then you got Davis on a 3 to 4 year extension. So I don't think we would go to get a wide receiver in the first round. But then I was also saying, like, if they re-sign Gabe Davis, they're hoping that he's going to be Diggs' replacement in 2 to 3 years when his contract's up, and then we need to get a Gabe Davis replacement. So if you drafted Gabe Davis's replacement now, they're both going to need to be re-signed at the same time. If he has a 4-year deal, they're both going to have to be re-signed at the same time, unless you fifth year option the receiver in the first round. But that's the fun about doing it early is because you don't know. So I would go with if there's no great D tackle open, I would go with Thomas.
Let me just put this out there real quick. So yeah, a lot of the analysts were saying Brian Thomas, Troy Franklin, and even one of them mocked your guy, Xavier Legette, in the first round, which was a shocker to me because some of the boards still have him like 3rd round, which is insane to me.
That's nuts.
But let me ask you, this is something to get Jake a little pumped up. He loves trivia. I mean, let's talk about it, right? So the Buffalo Bills have 7 times in the history of the Buffalo Bills drafted a wide receiver in the first round. So, Jake, I already given you the number, 7 of them. Tell me who those 7 were.
Okay. So Eric Moles was definitely one of them. Sammy Watkins, Lee Evans. Those are your 3 there, most recent ones. Let's see here. There's a guy in the Jerry Butler.
Butler's one of them.
I think Jerry Butler was one of them. Another guy played alongside Andre too. Was Frank Lewis on that list?
No, sir.
Okay.
Good pick though. Very good receiver.
Albert Dubinion?
No, sir.
Marlon Briscoe? But he was a quarterback / receiver, so I don't know if he would count.
Come on, Jake.
No, sir.
Oh boy, this is not good.
Not good. You're gonna be doing push-ups tonight for sure. Extra push-ups.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Just throw it out there.
With all those little trivia games you play, you and Ian, this should be
I know.
something
I
like
should.
cemented.
I don't know why I can't.
Give a hint, Mike. Give a decade.
Oh well, dude. I mean, we go into the 60s,
No,
the
I could do this. I could do
70s,
this.
80s, 90s, 2000s. I mean, let's go.
Your guy, Mike. Oh my goodness.
My God.
Gosh. This is not good. I'm drawing a blank on names. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe too much drinking over the weekend. I was at a diaper party yesterday.
Look,
You know,
I don't want to take up too much time because we got a packed show tonight. But
give me the other names.
Okay, so in 1968, Haven Moses. That would have been a tough one for you.
Oh, that's a good name. No, that's a great name. Yeah.
1971.
Bobby Chandler.
I thought you might have gotten this one. J.D. Hill. No, Bobby Chandler was not a first round. J.D. Hill. Jerry Butler, Perry Tuttle was taken in 1982 with the 19th overall pick. Eric Moulds, Lee Evans, Sammy Watkins. So if you look at majority of those 7, I'd say more than 50% were a success at taking it number 1. So let's get into it. I think are we locked in at Brian Thomas? I want to check with the channel. I gave them enough time to see what they're thinking. What do they bring? What are they bringing to the table here?
I will say this. I do want to give Troy Franklin some flowers here. Roy's also mentioning, isn't Troy Franklin a better downfield receiver? I would agree with that, but I think overall, all-encompassing, Brian Thomas is the guy. I can't believe he's available here at 28. I feel like Troy Franklin, there is a potential chance that he actually is available here in real life, but Brian Thomas, man, like he is – those LSU receivers, I mean, they just breed wide receivers lately. I don't know what it is. They're just so pro-ready. They're so damn athletic. And they're complete receivers, which is super important. So I like him. He's got good speed. He's got great hands. He's got great routes. That's why I'm taking him over Troy Franklin here.
Yeah, you know what's shocking is like I must have over the last 2 days run, I don't know, 20 mock drafts, and this dude never fell to 23. What's crazy,
it's crazy.
A lot of the analysts, at least 3 of those 5 that I talked about, had mocked Brian Thomas to the Buffalo Bills. So Sean, you good with it? With the first round pick in the 2024 draft, the Buffalo Bills take Brian Thomas from LSU.
Nice.
Love it. That's definitely getting an A grade.
If he's like Jefferson.
Right? Even Jamar Chase. I mean, I think he compares more towards – it's like a combo of both, honestly, which is just amazing. I'm here for it.
By the way, I didn't tell you my 3 that I was targeting: defensive tackle, safety, and wide receiver. Those are my top 3. So here we go. We are at the 60th pick, second round. We can take a look at best overall, but I'll filter this any way you guys want. We can talk about the positions that we are most interested in. If you'd like me to do that. Got a big echo there.
D tackle for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Wow.
Safety? I think you're getting an echo from your phone there, Sean.
Probably. Yeah, safety.
All right, let's go safety. Who else you guys want to filter by?
It's probably about that time to start drafting another running back so we don't have to sign Cook and we can just keep recycling running backs.
I don't like taking one at number 2 though.
For 3 rounds just to see what's,
Oh well, we can take a look there. Let's take a look what's out there.
Could look at edge. Could look at defensive ends too.
Oh yeah, we definitely need to do that. They're probably going to draft one in the first round anyway.
Right.
You want to look at edge? You said. No, here's the problem. Yeah. This is what I was finding. If you didn't get one of those elite, and there's a couple elite. I mean, Sweat is probably still out there if you wanted him. But let's take a look first of all before you guys make up your mind. Love to hear from the channel who you want us to go with at number 2, but and for our second round pick. But let's look who was taken ahead of him here. So you got Jalen McKillen, wide receiver. Let's see, Jaden Hicks was a guy that you got in the fourth round, which is insane. That's what I'm saying. Right, that was a steal. On Tuesday, you were gifted. These guys are not going to go to the 4th round. But interesting, like you guys have been mentioning, that's only 3 picks before us. Maybe a trade up there for that safety. It's one of the top safeties, not the top safety currently. I am surprised about Roman Wilson going this quickly. I know he had a good Senior Bowl, but I'm a little surprised he's going that
I've
quickly.
seen him mocked as early as 32 to the Chiefs, actually, Mike.
Really?
Pretty crazy.
Really?
Yeah, he's climbed up a lot of boards.
By the way, we're going to take a look at who the Chiefs been drafting for our Chiefs guys out there. Xavier Worthy, that's who you mocked on Tuesday in the second round. I mean, you were just gifted some studs, and obviously they're not there.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's go back up a little bit.
Did you watch any of those highlights, by the way, Mike? Xavier Worthy? Guy's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. I
So
mean,
good.
I watched your video there, so it was pretty cool. Adonai Mitchell, another big, a lot of Texas guys, Jake, this year. I want to go back to who the Chiefs took. So the Chiefs mocked Tyler Guyton, tackle. I do believe one of your tackles, maybe the Chiefs guys can chime in here. I think one of your tackles is a UFA, unrestricted free agent, maybe. Let me know if that's the case.
Don Smith.
Okay.
They just signed Taylor, but they both stink anyway. So
Juwan Taylor, the most penalized offensive tackle in football.
The whole offensive line was the most penalized.
Yeah.
And they got
they were still a top
their
5
offensive
O-line.
line was amazing.
And they got they were
in the playoffs.
but they got no penalties in the playoffs, and especially in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, did you guys see that stat?
That makes sense.
They haven't been called on holding in all 3 Super Bowls, is it, or something like that?
All 3 wins, yeah.
All
That's
3
just
wins.
a well-coached team, if you ask me.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're looking at here. So let's see. Where is Sweat ranked? So let's look for him real quick.
He's I think they got him at like 60.
Round. I consider going early on him. I'm not gonna do what we did last year, and you reached on Dorian Williams. You gave up your 4th round pick to get Kincaid, and then you lost on Whippler and DeJuan Jones and Puka Nacua and Tank Dell. I don't want to do that this year.
So you got the Sweat there. There he is. He's right. A 3rd rounder is what they're saying. And I'm thinking, why would I want this guy badly? I'm thinking, I mean, just because the board, just because whatever he's falling right now, I think he moves up potentially after the combines. Jake, what's your thoughts? I mean, we need this position so desperately. And this guy, what is he, like 360 pounds? Him and Ed Oliver in the middle. Oh my God, dude.
I think that's what's so good about him too, is the fact that he can move at that size. So I am all for appeasing our guy Trek Reviewer here and taking T'Vondre Sweat, because I love the move here. I love the pick. I know Chris Jenkins is also on the board, but I think you go with the size and the guy that's going to give you a guaranteed, probably starting role, honestly, coming into this next year. We get 2 guaranteed starters here back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the guys above him. Jenkins. Jake, you probably know more about these guys than Sean and I, just because you watch a lot of college football. But are there any of these guys?
All of them are worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Braden Fisk is another guy I really like. Brandon Dorless, we talked about him a little bit on the AFC East Summit show. Anthony is very high on him. I haven't watched a ton of tape on him, but the guy is a stud. Again, another guy that's definitely worthy of a 2nd round pick. Now, the only thing here is I talked about offsetting Ed Oliver with a guy that's bigger. So that's why I like taking T'Vondre Sweat, because Brandon Dorless kind of gives me those. And obviously, Aaron Donald's unbelievable, but undersized. He's that undersized D tackle, right? A guy that just got a super high motor, is going to put up numbers and still do his thing because he's just pad level at the end of the day. And, he's just so damn good at that. He wins with pad level. T'Vondre Sweat, he's just a bull. The guy can move. He's super athletic, and size and strength. You're not going to beat it.
Track Review, you're saying he's seen clips of Fisk compared to Kyle Williams.
Yeah, I like Braden a lot. I think that would be a nice pick for us too. So I'm all for Braden Fisk or T'Vondre Sweat in this situation, but let's roll with T'Vondre. We've been talking him up so damn much.
Yeah. Okay. I want the biggest possible one tech.
Basically and basically the same height and weight Braden Fisk is Kyle Williams too, which is very eerie.
And there's a difference between undersized D tackle and Aaron Donald. I mean, Aaron Donald's 285, but that dude could bench press like 550. It's completely different than just being like 6 foot 280, like a 285 like at Oliver. I mean, and he's bigger too. You know, and Oliver's great. You know, he's an elite defensive tackle, but not many D tackles can be undersized in this league and perform. I mean, look at the best D tackles. Like Chris Jones isn't undersized. He's really tall, so he might not look like he's the biggest, but he's not undersized. And then you got Donald, and then Oliver. Quinn Williams isn't undersized. So like when you look at the best ones out there, Matabike, he's pretty big as well. It's not many great ones come undersized, and the way our defensive line is, we need a guy that's just immovable,
Command.
who can just burst through anything and take the double teams. So Ed Oliver's not taking them. And again, if you could still re-sign Daquan Jones, and then you have his veteran mindset that could help a young guy like him learn some new moves and just help him grow as a man and as a player. And then you got the future right there. So I'd love that.
Yeah. I want to talk about another player here. Chad mentioned Darius Robinson out of Mizzou. Yeah, that's insane that he goes at 40. He's definitely a first-round pick in my mind. This is a guy that's actually pretty similar to, I think, Chris Jones, can kind of play all over on the defensive line. You talk about solidifying a first-round grade. He did that at the Senior Bowl, and this dude is unbelievable. So, yeah, I'm shocked to see him at 40 here. Another guy that has tremendous value.
Also, the guys, one of my favorite players in college football is an undersized D tackle. That guy from Pitt who smacked his face in his helmet hard as hell. I'd like to just get him just for the juice aspect. Like I don't know where he's mocked to go. Probably not too high. So I would double down on D tackle, grab him. Then you go into the season with the two guys we drafted, Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones, and maybe bring back a guy like Settle for $1 million just to have a fifth D tackle, or Eli Anku might be coming back, and then you got the grittiness of, I don't even remember his name, but he'll just be slamming his head on his helmet on the sideline all every week and just getting everybody riled up. And then you got the big boy in the middle, 360, Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones. It'd be nasty.
That'd be nice for sure.
All right, so we're good with T'Vondre Sweat. Is that correct?
Let's roll with it. Yep.
Sean, you're good? All
Very
right.
good. Yep.
With the second round pick for the Buffalo Bills in the 2024 draft, the Bills select T'Vondre Sweat out of Texas. Welcome to the team.
Wow.
There we go. Now I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a, don't be surprised we get a bad grade there. PFF thinks he should be a third rounder. Since we've taken him in the second, I won't be shocked if they give us a bad grade there. I've seen it on these mocks. I'm like, it's crazy. But
that's
hey,
nuts.
Jake and I, we've talked before. Draft for need, and I don't care if there was just some generational talent that was right there, which I didn't think there was anything. I think Sweat could be a generational talent. He's that big. He's like Ted Washington. I don't know how many of you got to see big Ted Washington playing nose tackle for the Buffalo Bills. Oh my goodness, he's fantastic. So, all right, we go to the third round here. So, Trek Reviewer, how we doing, my friend? How you liking it so far? We got a receiver. We got the biggest dude in the draft, at least one of them, Sweat there with Ed Oliver. I just can't imagine that what a pair that would be right there. So, all right. So third round, guys. Jake, where you think we should look?
I kind of like this Javon Solomon kid. I mean, the dude racked up 16 sacks this past year, Mike. Now, listen, I know he plays for a small school like Troy. I get it, but this guy's got insane motor. Listen, you talk about Troy, though. They have an incredible lineage of defensive ends coming out of that school. DeMarcus Ware, OCU Manura, some dogs. So just saying, good history at least.
Well, I don't know much about this guy, Jake, but I need you to, if you know, is he a project or is he a guy that's going to come out and get 10 plus sacks in the season?
I think I think he can put up the numbers. That's what I'm saying. He's been there. He's done that. I know it's at Troy and people are going to kind of scoff at that a little bit, but this dude he's NFL ready. He's fast off the edge. He kind of reminds me of AJ Epinesa a little bit. But I think he could do some work in this league. So I like him there. I like him in the third round. I'm actually surprised he's available.
I want to look at safety too. And that's what scares me. The top safeties are pretty much off the board.
Wow, Xavier Leggett in the third there. to Carolina.
Yeah, I wanted to show KC since we have some
Ted.
KC folks in there. Braylon Trice is who they took, edge player out of Washington with their
That's
second
crazy
round
that
pick.
he's there too. Wow. Yeah.
So talk to me, Chiefs fans. Are you happy with your offensive tackle in the first round and your edge rusher in the second? I mean, obviously that defense was pretty stellar. So they're just continuing to build it. I feel like though, and then maybe they're so under the cap, they may be able to make a big move in the free agency market for a wide receiver. I mean, you got Mike Evans out there. I mean, oh my goodness.
Could you imagine if
no,
you guys go and get Mike Evans,
I
Chad,
can't imagine.
and
I
Weston?
don't want to imagine.
That would just crazy, man.
They don't even need to. They don't even need to. They got Andy Reid.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it the so what was the Dolphins deal in the second round?
I think this is a result of the Tom Brady tampering scandal, where Tom Brady was going to get some ownership there, but it's either that or the Brian Flores thing.
Brady was the first round knock.
That's what it was. Yeah.
They probably trade. I think it was from trades or something. I'll have to ask my guys, but I don't think them losing this one was a negative issue. I think it was just from trading.
Yeah. Why is that, Weston? Is it the contract hit? Is the fact that he's on his back nine right now? I mean, the guy's still putting up insane numbers. Like he just led the league in touchdown catches too. So curious to see what your reasoning is beyond that.
Yeah, and then with Mahomes thrown to him, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You won't have any issues with drops this year with him.
Well, Mike Evans has been known to drop a few too, but he makes up for it.
I mean, yeah, okay. Everyone drops a few, but Mike Evans,
except for Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald had like more tackles than drops in his career.
More tackles. That's crazy. All right, guys. So who else you want to filter by? Because we're on our last. We're going for gold so far. We've drafted a wide receiver. We're pretty happy with that. We drafted a big, massive body, very good defensive tackle with Sweat. So where are we going here? Where are we going? You like going defensive line again?
I don't mind Javon Solomon. Let's look at receivers too, just for the heck of it. I want to see what weapons are on the board.
Edge and safety. Well, because let's think about it too. It's hard to tell the landscape because we're going to keep 6 receivers as always. If we bring Davis again, I don't want to, or I'm not saying either way. I'm just saying if you did bring Gabe Davis back, that's Davis, Diggs, Shakir, Hardy as of right now because he's got a 1 year left, and Jake's neighbor, Justin Shorter.
Yeah.
That's 5 already. So if you drafted another one, and you drafted another one in the 3rd round, the money thing with Hardy, it might not work out. So you might have to keep Hardy just because of the money. And then you got Andy Isabella still. So we don't know how they're gonna go with it. So just for me personally, for this exercise, I would look at edge or safety for now.
Okay, but that's fair.
But I mean, still look at wide receiver for fun. But if I was picking now, I would probably pick edge or safety.
Yeah.
For me, I was hoping for a safety over 6 foot, around 200. These guys don't excite me. Jake, maybe you can talk me into them. You see them play a little bit more than I do. You watch more college football.
Yeah.
But the guys 1 through 4, the top safeties were all right in that category. They were slightly over 200. They were over 6 feet tall. I just want a big guy. I guess I'm spoiled. I want a Kyle Hamilton. And I know you can't find those, but I want someone similar.
Jaden Hicks is similar to Kyle Hamilton.
Right. So when you picked him in the 4th last mock, I was like, love that pick. We got him in the 4th. I wouldn't have gambled and waited to the 4th because obviously he's gone now. But but all right, guys, let's make that choice. We got receiver. Again, I look at these receivers, Jake, and you know me. I look at that first take, 5'11". I'm like, sorry, moving on.
So Jacob Cowing actually talked with the Bills extensively at the Senior Bowl. I know that for a fact. And they actually interviewed him and stuff. They asked him about playing with Josh Allen and all that too. And obviously he would be thrilled, beyond thrilled to do so. But honestly, I think considering that I'm not over the moon about the safeties left on the board at this point. I do like Cole Bishop. I really do like Cole Bishop, but I think we can get him in like the 4th or 5th round. That's another safety. I would say go Javon Solomon here, just to keep the
All
cheap
right.
labor there at defensive end, and it fills another need area. You just think about some of the guys. I mean, Von Miller. Unfortunately, we're stuck with that contract. I think Shaq Lawson is gone. I think we probably will retain Kingsley Jonathan, so that's good. But there's a question mark on whether we're going to keep AJ Epinesa. I want to re-sign him. I think he should be re-signed. But if not, you're drafting a guy that can come in and actually start in this league, and Javon Solomon.
Yeah.
All right. You good with him, Sean?
Yeah, like I said, I haven't extensively looked at everybody yet, but I trust Jake. I don't want a project defensive lineman
Yeah.
anymore. I don't want project players anymore. We've done that a lot in the Bean era. So if Jake says he could trust that Solomon can come out and play and be a game changer, and you get him in the third round, and you're not bringing AJ back, especially, I would love it too, especially if the safeties aren't what we're looking for, and I'd be fine with that. And
What
quickly,
I
just
love too is he's older, he's mature. Like there
right.
is something to be said about playing 5 years in college over just a junior coming out. So with him, he has the production too. I think he has D+ on De'Vondre Sweat. Are you kidding me? Whew.
I told you that. I've
Mike
done so
said.
many mocks. I took him in the first. You take him in the first, you get an F. You take him in the second, you get a D.
Yeah.
So let me just say this: with the 99th overall pick, the Buffalo Bills take Javon Solomon in the third round. Welcome to the Buffalo Bills, Javon. So I love it. Again, I'm a little concerned about safety. We didn't talk. I mean, I was listening to some show today, which was pretty good. They were talking about possible release candidates for the Bills, but they talked about Von Miller, and this person felt like towards the end of the season, Von was starting to show some. It's crazy that Von played most of the year, didn't have a sack, but towards the end of the year, he was starting to have his. We're starting to see some of the old Von back. He wasn't playing as conservative. Of course, you could see all year long he's just not been himself. He was very conservative, wanted to protect that knee. And hopefully we get something from him this year. Hopefully he returns to 85, 90% of what the old Von was 2 years ago when we had him.
That'd be nice.
But I mean, so then you don't have to worry about, and I think I agree with you. Epinesa, I want him back. And we talked about that, Jake, on one of the last shows. Market value wasn't too high for him. It was surprisingly pretty low.
Very surprising. Yeah.
So,
that was the only positive about them screwing him over for the first 2 years of his career, was that he didn't get a chance to really show out, and then now people are going to be skeptical of giving him the big money. So it might work out for us, but it didn't work out as far as having him be an asset to the team right away. It made him lose all that weight, and do this, look like this, be at this. You drafted him at 285, and you want him to be 240 all of a sudden. Man,
they're just messing with him, man.
Yeah, that's rough to, and then you bring him back up a little bit, back down. It's hard for a player. So, so maybe it could work out in our favor.
Yeah.
And real quick, while I got it here, I was looking up why the Dolphins lost their second round pick, and it doesn't mention a second. It just says they lost a 2023 first and a 2024 third round pick for tampering with Brady and Sean Payton. So it doesn't mention the second round pick. I typed in why they lose a second round pick. It just says the first and the third. So I don't know why they lost that second. Funny though.
So one thing we didn't do is look at kind of who was above in the third round. It'd been nice to see if there was maybe a safety that was taken a little bit before Javon. Maybe we could have made a move up, but we're going to get into. It's going to be fun, guys. I mean, this is the first one. It's still early. We haven't been talking a lot about free agency because the Bills are 51 million over the cap, and I don't know about what Jake and Sean think, but I just don't think they're going to be big players in the free agency market. I think in the second wave, maybe in the third wave of free agency, obviously we're going to fill some needs, but any of those big splash guys that are out there, I just don't see it happening. So this is why we're kind of talking about this, and it's early. This is our draft needs will probably change they usually do after free agency, right? We could be having our draft. We'll have another one next week, maybe a 4-rounder. But yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff, but it's going to change drastically in what we're still about a month away from free agency. So got a lot more mocks we need to do.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I don't think we're. I mean, everyone knows before a certain deadline, you have to be positive or 0 to positive of cap. So they're going to be positive, uh, by that certain. I don't remember what the deadline is, but they will be positive. But we're not going to do anything besides sign players either we currently have or sign a bunch of guys on vet minimums or 2-year deals or prove it deals with incentives built into it. 'Cause that's where we're at. So maybe I guess that for me, the people I'm looking to sign that might be a little bit of money on our team. If we sign Gabe Davis, if we sign Epinesa, if we sign Daquan Jones, and those will really be the guys I'm looking at, because then that'll also really dictate our draft needs. Because if we're not bringing back Gabe Davis, now you need a Gabe Davis replacement and a Stephon Diggs heir to the throne in 2 to 3 years. So you might have to get one of those big time receivers in the first round, maybe even trade up. So it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point there, Weston. Yeah, I mean it's scary. They're 21 million under the cap already, so not going to be that difficult for them to free up another 30 million. Let's transfer here or transition to the second segment of the show, and that's what it's like to be a Chiefs fan this time of year. I guess this time in your life, and we have a friend of the channel, Chad the Chief, as he likes to be called. He's joining us tonight. How you doing, Chad?
How are you guys?
We're good. We try to have Trav on or Chad on after the Super Bowl, but the Super Bowl was so late. We just weren't able to do the show, and we obviously didn't do a show on Wednesday, and Chad wasn't available Monday because he works nights. Because we did do a show on Monday. But Chad, good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yes, sir.
And
Absolutely.
Let's start with first of all your history. I mean, did you grow up around the Chiefs? Did you grow up in Missouri? How'd you become a fan? And just talk to me about your life as a fan of the Chiefs.
Well, first of all, before I get into that, man, great for the green room. Coke and water.
Oh, you go,
Hey,
buddy.
there we go.
I appreciate that. Waiting on it. Yeah, I was like, man,
you didn't grab the glass bottle though, Chad. You got to grab the glass bottle.
No. There are some down the road that I always love. The Mexican Coke is fantastic.
Yes,
the best
nothing
one.
better.
It really is.
No, nothing better. It is the best.
Changer.
And it's $2 a bottle though here, so I try to limit with what I get. But no, I was, let's say, born and raised in Missouri. Parents were obviously fans here as well. My parents were both born in Kansas. Actually, my dad was born in Kansas City, Kansas. My mom was born just right up the road from where I currently am. I'm literally right on the Kansas-Missouri border. So I'm not too far away. I'm literally about 2 to 3 minutes from either one. So it's kind of a unique spot. So, but they were, lifelong fans. My mom got to see Len Dawson's last game in person. It's the only game she ever got to go see, which was awesome. So, I mean, I've been pretty much a fan, well, let's see, 44 years. So I'd say I'll go with that, 44 years. So,
Nice.
So it's been interesting here as of late.
That's cool that your mom got to see Len Dawson, because obviously you know that in '67, in the first Super Bowl, Len Dawson led the team. They actually beat the Bills in that AFL title game, went on to play the Packers and lost. But a couple of years later, they go back and they win with Len Dawson, and they beat the Vikings, who were like 2 touchdown favorites in that game. So that's pretty cool. Like, my dad has seen some players in the '60s era that I wasn't able to see or I just hear from with him. So I'm sure you heard those stories as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes. And, it kind of even goes back to even the last 2 Super Bowls with the 49ers as well as, the Minnesota Vikings, the Purple People Eaters back in the '70s. I mean, that's just supposed to be this vaunted defense. Kansas City has no chance. They're by far the better team, so on and so forth. But yet somehow they find a way to win. And it's not always the best team that wins. It's usually the team maybe with either maybe a better coach or a better scheme or whatever. It's just the team that works hard at the end usually ends up coming out on top. But if they gave it to the best team, Baltimore would have already won it. I mean, it's the regular season doesn't count. It's what happens when you get in the, as they say, you get in and then see what happens, which unfortunately some of my other teams, they kind of have that philosophy and they usually choke in the first round. Like, I don't know, the Cardinals by chance. But I mean, it's just win and get in. And and it's just been unbelievable for these last God, I'd say 6 years.
Wow.
So
Can't even imagine. I mean, one day I hope to, and hopefully you got to watch one of those victories with your parents.
I did. 2019. What's crazy is that I have a very weird superstition. My superstition is I don't watch the games because usually 9 times out of 10 they will lose if I watch. For instance, I will use 2019 as an example. The two games that I watched, I can't remember who we played early in the season. 2019, we lost. I watched the Tennessee game. We lost. I said, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm not going to watch the rest of the way. Well, guess what? They ran the table, won like 10 or 11 in a row or whatever it was, and went on to win the Super Bowl. So all my friends said, please do not watch the game. Please don't screw this up. So I said, no problem. I will not. What's crazy is the only Super Bowl that I did watch was the Tampa Bay Kansas City Super Bowl, and they lost. So
wow,
the other 3, they won, and I did not watch. So
Can you
I
start
just
watching all
rolled
the games
with
again,
it.
please?
Yeah, Chad, please start watching.
Yeah. I'll think
nice
about it, but
that
right now
Bills
that
game,
answer's
you
still
know?
going. That answer's going to be no. But I didn't watch any of the games in the playoffs. I listened to every one of them on radio. I kind of go old school. I actually like listening to them on radio. And that's baseball, even hockey. I do that, but baseball, football, especially, I usually listen to them. I usually don't like to watch them for some reason. I like our voice play-by-play, which is Mitch Holthus. It's been with the been the voice for 30 years now, going on 31. And I always remember one of his calls was the famous. I think we actually talked about it. I think Jake, you did, was the. No, maybe it wasn't. I can't remember, but it was the famous game between Denver and Kansas City in Mile High, where Willie Davis goes over to the corner, kind of a similar play that actually won the Super Bowl. Goes out, cuts back over, and then Montana hits him with it, and that was just a big iconic game for him, and he kind of just took off from there. So I actually like it. He does a really great job. So honestly, I'd rather just listen to it than that. But yeah, I probably have only watched maybe a handful of games in the last 3 years, and most of them lost, except for 2.
You know what's funny about that? I had a similar.
It is.
I had a similar thing with the Sabres. So not all my life, I love watching the Sabres, but there was a period in time where they were doing bad, but whenever I didn't watch, they'd win. So I was doing a similar thing. Well, now it doesn't matter whether I watch or not. They struggle. So I got past that. So I watched the games. I'm like, life is too short, Chad. You gotta watch these games.
Yeah. I know, and I probably should have. Maybe in hindsight there, I will, maybe one day, and I know that might bring some joy here, but like right now, and what's crazy too is that it was in a similar circumstance when the Blues won the Cup. I did not watch any of them except for, ironically, and they won it, and that was Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final against Boston, and they actually won it. So I was shocked. So, and you know what? I mean, I was really jealous of the Bills in the 90s, going to 4 straight. I mean, I can't imagine how hard that is. I mean, it's yet alone, get there. I mean, that's the hard part. And that was back when you had, granted the structure was a little bit different, the first two teams got the bye, where you only had 6 teams in all overall, but just to make it 4 times. And trust me, I was probably one of Buffalo's biggest fans. Probably in at least the 2 against Dallas. I was cheering so hard because I hate Dallas. I just cannot stand them. And I was cheering so hard because I had a couple of friends that were Cowboys fans, and they would just rub it in my face because they knew Kansas City was usually bad. And I was, and I would just be like, "Come on, guys, just do it." And unfortunately, we know the rest. We know that history, but I really do hope I really do hope you guys get to experience this. I really do, because I think every fan base should really get a chance to experience this. I mean, I hope it's sometime soon, like after the Mahomes era is done. But and I think if it was the same reciprocal with Josh Allen, and like I said, and I know I said a few weeks ago that I said I wish they would have drafted. I watched a lot of games with Josh Allen when he was still at Wyoming. And I knew we had Mahomes, but I really wish there, because I think Mahomes came out a year early because he was a junior, I think.
Yeah.
I wasn't planning on that. I was really hoping that both would have came out at the same time, which I believe Allen was drafted in 18, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
That's who I want to Kansas City take, because I said, God, look at that guy. He could freaking launch the ball like 70 yards in the air. I'm like, we need that kind of quarterback. We need that guy. He can run. He's athletic. I mean, and probably maybe a little bit of the altitude in Wyoming probably helped out a little bit too. But he would be perfect for Denver when you go there, because, I mean, he was used to that for 4 years with that kind of altitude. So, you know, I was just thinking, man, because at the time we had to get over the hump for Denver because they were, you know, one of the teams on top. So, so that's why I really wanted them. And here's a hot take, though. You guys will get a laugh out of this. When they decided to move on from Alex Smith, give the keys to the castle to Mahomes, I predicted to most of my friends, I said in the first year, I said, I predict the record will be 2-14.
Wow.
Not only did we go 14-2, we made it to the AFC Championship game and, of course, lost to Tom Brady and the Patriots in overtime. But that's what I thought. I just didn't think he was ready. And boy, was I wrong, and I'm kind of glad I am. So
maybe you got to start spitting those takes too, because like maybe the negative takes, it's like reverse psychology. So you not watching the game, you saying those things, Chad. Actually, no, I want you to predict that every player is going to be a success moving forward.
No kidding. Well, what's crazy is, like I said, when going back there, I did get to watch one of them with my parents. It was, I should say they watched, I listened. In 2019 when they won it in Miami to win, like I said, the first one in 50 years. Yeah. And we got to experience, of course, the second one, which we all watched it together. And that didn't go out so well because we had a horrible offensive line, which I was saying there, you can't go wrong with maybe drafting some offensive line or even offensive, even some tackles in the first round, because you got to protect that investment. I mean, obviously the quarterback could be your highest paid player. You got to protect them at all costs. And we lost that one. And then after that, 2021 hit. And, unfortunately they both passed away. They both died 3 weeks apart. Wow. They end up getting the China virus, aka COVID-19. Oh yeah. And they also developed into pneumonia. And by the time that they would want to go to the hospital, it's kind of that, and I don't know, maybe Mike can speak to a little bit of this because I'm obviously not their age, but that generation, that baby boomer generation, really just has a tough mindset of, I'm not going to the doctor. I'm not going to go get help. I'm not going to go do anything. I'm going to do it how I want. And unfortunately, they waited about a week too late. So I lost my mom August 8th, and then I lost my dad September 1st. So we no more had the funeral for my mom. About 9 days later, we lost my dad.
Wow.
So it was, that part was hard, and to deal with all that. And then, so it was kind of one of those where, when we were facing Cincinnati, of course, in the AFC Championship game, I know my mom would be screaming out the wazoo because, she was very passionate about it. Anytime she would scream, I'd always be like, what's going on? What's going on? She goes, oh, he dropped the ball. And I said, dang. I said, who cares? I said, I thought maybe something bad happened the way she was screaming. So I was trying to listen for her while I was listening to the radio, because there was a little bit of a delay. There was about a 5 to 10 second delay from the radio to the TV. So I was thinking, oh man, I said, there's something bad must have happened. Then I was just like, okay, Kelsey dropped the ball. I don't care. I said, that happens. I said, I want to know what else, if it was something really bad. But no, I just, kind of obviously just kind of kept it up from that way, or kept it up from that time, and then go from there. And then sure enough, like I said, we won the last back-to-back, first one to do it in 19 years. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
It's been a ride. It really has. And like I said, I really do hope. I think was it somebody that said in here? I think Buffalo, whenever they win, I think they're going to celebrate for like a month. Oh, yeah. I mean, that town's going to be shut down. Oh, it's going to be shut down. I mean, you ain't going to find anything open. It's just going to be. It's going to be kind of like what the Blues did with the Cup, and they just went party hard, like drinking all day, all night, forever. And I think that's what it's going to be in Buffalo, because it really is. It's a football town. I mean, it really is. I mean, yeah, you got hockey, and I know you have a minor league team for baseball, but I mean, it's a football town. And I'm hoping one of these days I get to make it to Georgia Park and go to a game. I think it would be a lot of fun. And if you guys have never been to Arrowhead, you got to do it. I mean, it's what's crazy too is here's another one. Every game, I've only been to 4 games in my life. I've not been able to go to many just because usually with work and the cost of it. But I'm undefeated, 4-0 whenever
I was going to
go.
ask. I mean, in person, 4-0, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So the first game I went to was on Thanksgiving, was 2004. No, 2005. It was the first time, and it's the only time that they ever played in Thanksgiving against Jake Plummer and the Donkeys, aka the Broncos.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
And Trent Green was a quarterback. I think we still had Priest Holmes, and we just torched them. The following year, I went Christmas Eve in 2006. That was when we played the San Diego Chargers, and that was what they called the perfect storm game. It was like Kansas City had to win, and everybody else that needed to lose lost, so we could get into the playoffs. And of course, we get shellacked by the Colts in the first round to Peyton Manning, and that we usually always did. Then I went and let's see, what was the other one? No, I take that back. I've only been to 3-0. Sorry. I thought there was a fourth one in there. 3. The last one was last year. I went on Christmas Eve as well, and we played Seattle last year, and that was the last home game of the season. It was bitterly cold. It was about 8 degrees outside, 15 below zero wind chill. My boss actually gave me his seats. Him and his son had season tickets. They weren't going to go because it was too damn cold. So he said, "Hey, do you want to go?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" So I drove up there and went up, and he had lower bowl seats. So, and he was under the overhang, so that way if it rained or whatever, you're not going to get wet. So that was nice. And there's a TV right up above, so that way you can actually see the action if it got too far away. So it was a really good seat. But yeah, it's just, that was my first game since 2006. So it's 13 years since the last time I went. So it was a lot of fun. And hopefully I'll get to go to more next year.
I think it's kind of crazy. So you don't like to watch them, but you'll listen to them on the radio. And I can just picture this. Yep. Your mom's in one room watching it on the big screen. You're like, "Mom, I can't watch it." You go into another room. You're listening to it on the radio. You're hearing them.
Yes, I do.
That's just crazy to me. I love it. Absolutely love it. Sorry to hear about your parents. I really am.
No, I appreciate it. No, it was very crazy because I would go downstairs in the finished basement. My room is actually down there, and I'd have the radio on, and then I would hear her scream about something, and I would just be like, What happened?" And then I would hear it, and I said, "Oh, hell, he dropped the ball. Okay, never mind." So I just thought it was something bad, like we fumbled or an interception or something like that. So I was, I didn't watch them until the replays when they put them on the NFL Network. That's the only time I'd watched the first one and then the last 2. So
wow.
Yeah, I know everybody thinks
I respect
I'm nuts,
your discipline.
And I said, "Hey,
yeah, I really do.
It's tough. Trust me.
Yeah.
When this one went to overtime and I was sitting over here by in the kitchen here, I thought I was going to throw up because I said, for one, I can't watch because I know if I do, they're probably going to lose. And I'm getting a little bit of a delay. That I was actually getting notifications on my phone before I heard it on the satellite radio because for some reason the local broadcast, the Kansas City broadcast won't come over local radio once it hits the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl. The only way to get it is on satellite radio because they'll do the home and visitors broadcast. So I love Kevin Harlan. I think he's probably the best to do it. Great, and he's just amazing. But I'm like, I got to do with what I normally do, and I got to listen to the home team broadcast. So I actually got the notification that we'd won the Super Bowl before I heard it. And I was just like, oh my God. I'd seen it go off, and I looked at it and I said, oh my God, we just won. And it was unreal. I just thought I was going to throw up, but I didn't and held everything down. So, but yeah, it was wild. Let me tell you. And like I said, I really do hope you guys get to do this. I really do, because it's a fan base that deserves. Both of us go way back. And by the way, I know I hate to bring this up. I really do, but they said on the broadcast, so I will too. They said, we actually have to thank Buffalo for 2 things. 1, trading up to get the number 2 pick to get Patrick Mahomes. And then number 2, the 13-second game. Because if it wasn't for them changing the rules for that one, we would have never got to possess the ball. It would have been the same old, and San Francisco would have won, they'd have been celebrating. But since that got changed after that game, we were able to make it happen. So
Crazy.
One of the guy on radio, he goes, I guess I could say there that the demons of the '93 AFC Championship game, I guess those are vanquished, I think there. And they said, yeah, I think we could say they have been. Yeah.
I love it.
So, I love that you listen to radio. That was the thing. Like when I was a kid, Bills weren't selling out. And so I had to listen to a lot of radio, Joe Ferguson, O.J. Simpson. I hear a lot of that. And I would sit and listen to that radio. And I also did it for Sabre games as well. Sometimes, Rick Jenneret didn't always do for the Sabres, they didn't always do for the TV. He wasn't the broadcast or the announcer. So we'd put on the TV and then we'd put on Rick Jenneret on the radio because he was fantastic. So appreciate that. I mean, I can understand. I respect it. I listened to the radio a lot back in the day. You are right. Our generation, we kind of wait till it's too late to go to hospital, unfortunately. But some of us had learned the hard way. And, I know me and my dad, we take precautions now. Something feels wrong, we get into the hospital. So again, sorry for that. And you got to experience it with your family, which is fantastic. There's a lot of us Buffalonians that are still hoping. My grandfather's not around anymore. I would have loved to have seen a Super Bowl win with him. My dad's still alive. My mom's still alive. So hopefully that happens. Jake's got Big Al. He's slightly older than me. Hopefully they get to witness that. And I think we will. And
I think so too. I mean, you got a great quarterback. I mean, there's definitely honestly the entire run of the playoffs, Buffalo was the one I was worried about the most. That was the one that just scared me the most because I know the talent of Josh Allen, and if you can get it in the hands of Stephon Diggs, I mean, he could just run like the wind. I'd say the one thing there that really was helpful there was not having Gabe Davis because he torched us the last time.
Yeah,
and not having him But Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, I mean, they're two studs. And James Cook, I mean, he can just flat out run the ball. And the one thing that I talked to a lot of my friends that we were at work and so forth, which not a lot of them are really, they get more into college football, which I am too. But I we're with a lot of people that are fans of Arkansas. And so they just didn't, they don't get into it, but they watched some of it. And they said, what's crazy is they said just how much either what Spags did in the second half there to make changes for the on the run defense, or it was just Buffalo abandoned it, almost kind of like with what Baltimore did. And I mean, Baltimore got abandoned their identity, and for whatever reason, there, I think that what Spags did, like I said, it was either that or they just gave it because I mean, Josh Allen was just torturing us in the first half, and I'm just like, oh my God, I said this is going to be it right here, and then all of a sudden, second half comes up, and I mean, Spags has just been great at changes on the fly. And Justin Reed even said in the press conference, I think he said, he goes, we do that all the time. He goes, we do things on the fly. He goes, we're used to it. And he goes, we can literally just make changes like that and we can adjust. So
I got a question for you,
I was just amazed
about Spags, and Jake, you can chime in too. I know Spags was a head coach before and it didn't go so well, but he is phenomenal. We've been talking him up. He just makes those changes, and he's the best at it. I think he's won as a defensive coordinator 5 times now, Super Bowl, something like that. 4, is it?
4.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 with the Giants and 3 with Kansas City.
Why is he not a head coach again? Is it because he doesn't want to do it, or is just nobody coming his way because he had unsuccessful results when he was a head coach? What's your thoughts on that? I want him out of there. I want him out of Kansas City. Go be a head coach somewhere else, please. Yeah. Why is this not happening?
Well, unfortunately, he just signed a new contract extension because he was actually a UFA at the end of the season. His contract was up, and he just re-signed. So I think it's like 3 more years, I think.
Damn it.
But to go back to your question, I think he's happy doing with what he's doing. He said that I listen to SiriusXM NFL radio all the time, and Moving the Chains is always a great show to listen to. They always give a lot of great insights with those two guys, with Pat Kerwin and Jim Miller, and shout out to those guys. Pat Kerwin says he knows Spags for like 30 years. And he said that the one thing that he did not like about being a head coach was that he did not get to have that personal approach with the players, because you have to run everything, around with being the administrative part. He said the one thing that he missed about when he was a head coach in St. Louis was not having that rapport with the players. So he said that's what he really liked about it. And so I think also he's getting up there in age too. I don't think that I know he's, I don't remember exactly how old he is, but I think he's right around 60, maybe just a little bit north or south of it. I can't remember exactly. So I think that has something to do with it. But honestly, I just think he enjoys with what he's doing. And if they could ever get an assistant head coach in the Hall of Fame, I think he deserves it. I think he absolutely does.
Yeah.
So, but that's my take.
That makes sense. Weston's saying
I have some good questions for you too, Chad.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
As a Chiefs fan, I got a few things for you. First off, is Tony Gonzalez the greatest tight end to ever play in NFL history?
Yes. I mean, I just think he's a stud. I mean, it broke my heart when he left to go to Atlanta because he wanted to go ring chasing in Kansas City. Just wasn't there, and it broke my heart when I got to see when he was close. I don't think, they didn't make it that year. They were in the NFC Championship game. But I really do. If he isn't, he's definitely top 2, top 3. But I think that he's definitely the best. And I know
statistically he is.
I
mean, he has the most receptions of all time.
Right. And I think Travis Kelce's going to be up on his heels here before long. If he wants to play longer. But I know he always got the comparison between him and Antonio Gates. I mean, it was just back and forth all those years of who was better, one or the other. And I mean, some people probably say Antonio Gates. I mean, granted, he was a great tight end, but I just think that Tony Gonzalez was better. Maybe I'm showing bias. I don't know.
No, I respect it. Yeah, it's always – I have the debate. It's like Gronk, Tony G, Travis Kelce now in the mix. So it's like those three, really. And Antonio Gates, by the way, snubbed for the Hall of Fame this year. I don't know what the heck happened with those voters. I think all the guys that got in are well-deserving. But Antonio Gates, in my opinion, is a first-ballot guy. I don't understand that. I think Devin Hester could have waited maybe one more year. What's that?
So Patrick Willis only played for 8 years.
That was the one I was going to say.
Good. He was
Antonio
so good,
Gates,
though.
man. I mean, tight end's tricky for me because, like, I don't see Kelce as a tight end because he's not.
No, he's more wide receiver.
So like I look at guys like Gronk and Gates who did it both, and I was just like, man, Antonio Gates didn't get in, but Patrick Willis, man, I don't know. I didn't hate Willis at all, but I mean, it kind of made me like, what does Antonio Gates have to do to get in?
Yeah. Right. No, I agree.
And I agree with that too.
Yeah. I like what Weston's saying here. He's saying Travis Kelce. So here's my only thing. Tony G also, I know he had Trent Green in Kansas City, but he had one of his best seasons as a pro with Tyler Thigpen throwing him the football, Chad. Are you kidding me right now?
Oh, I know.
No disrespect. Former Bill Tyler Thigpen too, by the way. But listen, he had like 1,100 yards and 10 tuds with Tyler Thigpen throwing on the ball. Are you kidding?
Tyler Thigpen,
Crazy.
Oh, I mean, we went through so many quarterbacks there in that time. I mean, with Tyler Thigpen, Brody Croyle, Brady
Damon
Quinn, Damon Heward, Elvis Gerbach was going to be the savior.
He had a good year, and him and Derek Alexander, they were electric, man. They were good.
If we could have just found a better kicker than Lynn Elliott, we would have been a lot better, but unfortunately we sucked at that part. No wonder why Dallas got rid of him.
Right.
And I'll still never forget that game in 95 where he missed 3 field goals and we lost the game 10-7 to the Jim Harbaugh-led Indianapolis Colts.
The Colts,
and they were a heartbeat away from going to the Super Bowl that year if it wasn't for the ball being knocked down where Pittsburgh would have went and they ended up winning the Super Bowl that year against I can't remember who it was. But Dallas, that's right. Yep. And I'm just like, which that still rubs a craw in most Dallas fans because now they're going on 30 years without winning being in an NFC Championship game or Super Bowl.
Hilarious. I love it.
Yes. Oh, I love every minute of it. Oh yeah. But no, I think I think you're always going to have that debate. And I mean, they're going to say, well, look at rings. Okay, well, fine. But just because you have maybe a couple, that doesn't mean that maybe somebody's just not better than you. And I just think with, like you said, getting 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns with Tyler Thigpen, that tells you all you need to know about Tony Gonzalez. And I mean, he never had a really good quarterback while he was there in Kansas City because they were just rotating. And then when we finally got our guy, we're like, okay, the first quarterback they drafted since Todd Blackledge, I think in '83, and that was an absolute disaster. He was horrendous. My dad still scarred Kansas City to that day that they drafted him, and they said, good God, what the hell were they thinking? So, but they said he was good in college, they say. Yeah, he'll be great in the pros, they say. Well, it doesn't always work out that way. So so that one always haunted us, but we never had our guy. We always had either the San Francisco rejects, which I won't consider Joe Montana a reject. That was just because they needed to clear cap, I think, and they weren't going to get it. So I think that's why he got traded, if I remember correctly. But, I mean, Steve Bono, like I said, Elvis Gerbach, and then you had Damon Heward, and then, like I said, then Brody Croyle. And
Trent was good for a few years, though.
Trent Green was good, yeah. And he was really good with the Rams until he blew out his knee. Of course, that was the year they won the Super Bowl, you know. And look, Kurt Warner would have never got his chance if they hadn't, just like Tom Brady would have never got his chance if Drew Bledsoe had not gotten hurt.
Yep.
Hey,
Joe
somebody told me at work said that.
I was going to say, Joe Montana got you to the AFC championship game.
He
and
did.
Of course, who knocked him out?
Yeah, Buffalo. Yeah.
That's right.
I know. That's why we were like, I think Bruce Smith. Oh my God, that man. I mean, when I seen him when he was going to whoever's door it was there to announce they were going to the Hall of Fame, I looked at it and said, good God, the guy's still huge. I mean, he could look like he could still play. I mean, I had Bruce Smith in my nightmares. I mean, because the guy was just, I mean, he was good. I mean, he was one of the best to ever do it. I mean, he was just amazing. And I'm like, how in the hell are we going to beat this team? I mean, but nobody ever thought that Kansas City was going to beat the run and shoot Houston Oilers. And look what happened there. I mean, they figured it was going to be the rematch again of Houston and Buffalo. They'd already had it penciled in. And then Kansas City goes down there and they beat the number 2 seed. And we were, I think, the 3. Yeah, because we played the Steelers in the opening round and won that wild card game. And then we go down to Houston, and I was shocked. I wasn't expecting us to win that game because, you know, I was 14 at the time, but I'm like, usually my birthday's right around the divisional round. I'm like, if Kansas City is still playing at that time, that means we're having a pretty good year. And then when we won that game, and I said, oh my God, we're actually going to the AFC Championship game. I'm going to see this. And I go, yeah, and we go to Buffalo. I said, we're going to get smoked. I said, and, you know, I think it would have been different if Montana was still in it. Maybe not, probably not. But I think we would have had a better chance. But, I mean, it was just – I mean, you just weren't going to beat Jim Kelly, Andre Reed, Thurman Thomas, and then, like I said, in that vaunted defense with Bruce Smith leading the way. It was just, oh, my gosh. He was just – the guy was just a freak of nature. I mean, man, he was such a great player back in his day. Like I said, he looks like he could still play.
Yeah. Hey, listen,
That's
Chad,
crazy,
I got to wrap up this segment. It's been fun. We're going to have you on again because I love –
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know your football and you know your history, so we're going to have more conversations. But I have 2 quick questions for you. 2 quick questions to end this segment.
I'll make them quick. Quick answers.
And Weston, I want you to answer this as well. Are you both Swifties?
No.
Here we go.
No?
Never have been, never will be.
All right.
Love that.
What about you, Weston? Swifties? And then I want to ask you this.
I cannot do it.
If you look closely at Jake, who does he resemble?
Well, like I said before in the comments, Josh Allen.
Josh
I mean,
Allen.
You know, it does. You need to get you a helmet and then, you know, get you a little jersey. I guarantee you go around and it's kind of like the fake Andy Reid that we have in Kansas City.
Oh, I love it.
You got one of those there. Yeah, I mean, he literally almost looks just like him. And I'm like, man, I said, but yeah, it really does. I mean, I'm for it. Like I said, and when I made the comment that one time there, they said, see, even he's –
I really appreciate that. It means the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, if you had his money, that'd be better too.
Oh, that's what my dad says all the time. He's like, man, he'd be making his money. That'd be great. But here I am.
Yeah, exactly. That would be fantastic. But definitely there. And definitely never, ever, ever to Taylor Swift. Not a chance in God's green earth or Hades for that matter. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. Even we had Andre Reed on our show. We got lucky enough to have Andre Reed, and
it was cool, man.
Check
it out. It was a good one.
Oh, that's cool.
Jake looked like Josh for sure. His doppelganger. That's what he called him. So,
no, that's awesome to get Andre Reed on there. That guy's unbelievable too. I mean, he was just
a yak.
Man,
yards after the catch, man.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, like I said, there was a lot of players that I feared in Buffalo, and if it wasn't Thurman Thomas and Andre Reed catching or throwing the ball, or catching or receiving the ball, yeah, Jim Kelly going down, had a good offensive line. I mean, and then like Bruce said, was Kyle Williams still playing there at that time too?
No,
Or was
this
he
was
later. That was
Kyle
he was
Williams
later
was
on,
like,
yeah.
He was like drought era, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'd say
finally got a
he
playoff berth at
feared
the
me
end.
too. He feared me too whenever
good.
I'd see it. Good God, the guy was big. And we were going back to one of the drafts. One of the guys there that's Trevon Sweat. I'd never seen how big he was. I'm like, good God, the guy's like pushing a refrigerator and a freezer there.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what Kyle Williams reminded me of. The guy was just big, stocky, and just, I mean, if he landed on you, you're going to hurt. I mean, I would not want to be a quarterback playing against him. But no, it was no, those Buffalo teams there, and like I said, even now, I mean, you guys got a great team. I mean, you got great pieces there. It's just you're kind of like Kansas City right now. Got to find another wide receiver, and hopefully we get back Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed. I have a feeling something's going to happen with that. They may tag one and sign the other. Don't know how that's going to work, how it'll play out, but. Yeah, and I mean, why would you want to go anywhere? Like you said, I think last week there. Why would you want to go anywhere else?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
And what's crazy too is, like I said, with salary cap and everything being that much, and then also what's crazy too is that you have, hey, if you guys are $51 million over, just think the Saints are $82 million over the salary cap.
Brutal.
And Washington has the most at $80 million under. So it's like between the two, it's like over $160 million from first to last. Yeah. So I was like, good God almighty. So, yeah, we're in great shape. But like I said, a lot of that maneuvering with the contracts and signing bonuses and stuff like that, that'll help free up. And I think Mahomes is already saying that he'll, push off a signing bonus till later on. So that's what he's done the last couple of years. That way it gives them that flexibility so that way they can start signing players. So that's what he's been doing. And I think probably Josh Allen will do that too. I think with that contract, if there's a way to maneuver it there, he'll want him to do that to get weapons. He wants to win. You can see it. And he wants to win, so he's going to do with what it takes for him to win. If he needs to take the hometown discount, he'll do it. I have no doubt.
I agree.
And I think Chris Jones will, and I think Patrick Mahomes already has, even though, I mean, his contract is up there. But I think that he'll do that because he wants to win. He knows his window's narrowing. And what's crazy with the AFC, with the way it is with all the quarterbacks now, we know Joe Burrow will be back next year. But, I mean, you got Lamar, you got Josh Allen, you got Mahomes, you got
Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert, yeah. I mean, as a guy who listened on radio the other day, he goes, he's a Miami fan. He goes, hey guys, in the AFC we have a big mountain to climb, and his name is Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And if we can't get past them, we're not going anywhere. So they said we have a huge mountain to climb. So we'll see what happens. But
Chad, I want to apologize real quick too, personally to you, because I went against the Chiefs in every single playoff matchup this year, and I just want to issue my face-to-face apology right now. Okay.
No apologies needed. Honestly, if I want to be true, after the debacle on Christmas Day, I said, are we even going to win the division? Yeah. I didn't even think we'd make the playoffs because there was a scenario where if Denver had won, and luckily enough they didn't, if Denver had won, they would have been tied with us, but we would have still held the tiebreaker over division record. And I was like, we cannot let Denver get into this again. We just can't. Well, then when they lost out, and then once we clinched it, and I was like, okay, we're in the dance. And then I said, okay, well, we can't get the 3 seed, or we can't get the 2 seed because we lose the tiebreaker. Well, we had the tiebreaker against Miami. We lose it against Buffalo. Thanks, Kadarius Toney, for being like 6 inches offsides. And, and I just said, if we can find a way to get in, I think we got a chance. And all of a sudden, everybody learned how to catch the ball again. MVS,
right?
Who would have thought?
It was a new season.
It dropped the ball a year.
It's a new season.
But he had 2 big catches, and I'll take them.
Yeah.
AFC Championship and 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right,
I was, like I said, I was like Weston too, but I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for allowing me on. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun.
Let's do more of this.
We
need more of this.
Oh, yeah. And I, like I said, I found you guys after the divisional game. It just popped up in my feed. I don't know why, but it did.
Awesome.
And I started going through, and I was just listening. I said, well, these guys sound kind of sensible. I've seen some Buffalo fans that were on there, and I mean, just going crazy, just yelling all kinds of vicinities and all that. And I was just like, okay, turn off. And then I was like, well, these guys sound all right. So I said, they sound normal. So that's where I came from, and
Appreciate
it
that,
went from
man.
there.
Well, we try.
So,
We all have kids. We're mindful of that. Our children, we want to watch our shows someday. So,
yeah,
so again,
absolutely. Yeah.
we appreciate you, Chad. We'll have you on
Yep.
again. I promise. Weston, we'll answer your question here shortly. He says, and I'll go through it with Jake and that, and Sean. But yeah, thank you, man. We'll see you soon.
Yep. Sounds good. Thank you, guys. You guys have a great night.
Absolutely, Chad.
I'll
You
be in the
too.
chat.
Thanks,
All right.
Chad.
Thanks.
Thank
bud.
you, guys.
Love it, man.
Yes, sir.
Go Bills.
Real quick, Sean, as a Bills fan, who is your most hated division rival?
It's tough. I mean, I guess we can't really ignore what the Patriots did to us for 20 years. So I'd probably say them for, the team history. But I think Jets now because the fans are morons and it's annoying. So probably the Jets.
What about you, Jake?
Yeah, I think just growing up in the era where we just got spanked by New England every single year, I think it's still the Patriots to this day.
Yeah.
And it's just always that, Darth Vader style thing with Bill Belichick. And I know Bill Belichick's gone now, of course. It's a new era for them. But I got to give it to the Patriots for sure. Still.
All right. Good stuff.
How about you, Mike?
The Finns, right? Probably.
For me, it's probably the Finns.
Yeah. That's fair.
So let's get into our last segment. By the way, again, Weston, Chad, we appreciate you. We always welcome all fan bases. And yeah, we try to be as unbiased as we can. It's hard sometimes. I'm sure you're a little biased to your teams, but we appreciate the heck out of you. And Chad, man, I loved hearing your story. Great
he
stuff.
He has great energy.
He really does.
He's a
he
natural.
knows his stuff. You should be doing your own podcast. Let me just say that. You and Weston should start one up and have us on. Have us on your show.
You could have him have a segment on Nickel City Chiefs Mafia.
Oh yeah, like a Nickel City Chiefs Mafia.
Listen, we're not gonna get any Chiefs wording involved in the titles. I mean,
I love that, Weston, comparing us
Thank
to
you,
Buffalo
Weston.
Plus, who's the biggest podcast in Buffalo. They've kind of taken over.
That means a lot.
They're good. Yeah, thank you so much.
I think you guys are better than them, Jake, because you guys are actually Bills fans, and you don't benefit off of being reporters for the team. So I'll take Nickel City Mafia any day.
Wow.
Over anybody.
Love that,
Sean. You're included in this Nickel City Mafia crew now.
Oh,
exactly. I know.
Yeah, but you guys are the founders. You're the presidents.
Well, Mike is the founder. He brought us along, which is amazing. So credit to Mike.
It's nothing without you guys.
All right. Well, let's get into our third and final segment of the show. I'm sorry, the rush hour is supposed to be an hour, but when we get into some good conversations, you just never know how long this thing's going to last. Then we got the Black Cat, Sean Kula, good stuff. But Jake, I've been dying to ask you this because if you're from Buffalo, okay, my friend, if you're from Buffalo, and hold on, let me find this real quick right here. I hope, and let me bring this up again. Why is it not showing? There we go. I hope you're a bowler. And if you're not, I'm going to question you because in Buffalo, it's a big thing. And one of the guys there that you see in the top right, Mr. Tom Baker, in the top 10 of the most money won, little over $2.1 million in the Pro Bowlers Association from Buffalo, born and raised in Buffalo, New York. So talk to me, my friend. Are you a bowler? Have you been in a league ever?
No, I've actually never been in a league. I do enjoy bowling, though. I really do. And I'm decent at best on my best days, if that makes sense. So I love it. I think it's great, especially here in the cold months. I mean, bowling, nothing better. You go to an alley, you get some beers, get a couple pitchers going. You're feeling great. You might not bowl well, but the vibes are immaculate. So I'm here for it. By the way, Mike, my favorite bowler of all time, right below Tom Baker there, Pete Weber. That guy,
Dubs.
Mr. Quotable Quotes. This guy is electric as they come. He's battled through some adversity, and he was awesome.
I mean, look at him wearing the shades there. By the way, Weston, I've checked out the Arrowhead Addict. I actually do listen to them and respect what they bring. They're pretty unbiased as you can get. So, but
likewise, Chad. Yes.
Bowled a few times. I'm not very good at it. So, right
there with you.
Pro bowlers back in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s. That was the thing on ABC, like every Saturday. I'd love to get up and watch the showdown. There was the top five, and they'd have to work their way to, see how they finish. So, like the guy who finished in fifth, and let me just tell you, to go through a tournament in bowling, you bowl a lot of games. I think they're now, and it might be more back in those days, but now I think you roll 18 games, and then they take the highest point total of those 18 games and we're talking hundreds of entries, right? I'm not sure what the max entry is, but I've seen some over a little bit over 100. They bowl 18 games, they get to the top 24, then each of those 24 bowlers, they bowl against one another, and then there's like the top five that come out of that, and those are what you see on the television event. And that was a big deal back in, like I said, in the early days. I don't know, did Big L, if you're still out there, were you a bowler, my friend? Were you
I think he
watching?
was in a league. I definitely think he was in a league.
There's nothing better. Look, let me just say this: bowling in a league with your friends, and even
Yeah.
it's fun. It's something you can go out, like team of four. You can go out there. You meet up with them Saturday or Sunday night. That's typically the league nights, for us, at least when I was in leagues. And you get to catch up. Actually get to talk because you have a little bit of time between shots.
Right.
So you get to talk with your friends. You get to catch up, and you get to eat some of the great food at the grill. I used to love going there for my fries, my burgers, and just look forward to it every week. But yeah, dude, this was a big thing, and I know in Buffalo, growing up, I mean, we had a bowling alley about 3 blocks away from us, 4 blocks away from us on Seneca Street, and we'd walk there. I think it was Saturday mornings, and got into a league there. I've been into a few leagues in Buffalo. I can't remember the actual bowling alleys now, but I can't remember their names. But it was just so much fun. And even out here in California, Troy and I have been in many leagues together. Actually, Vegas leagues where you play teams of four, and you part of your fees goes towards Vegas. So what happens is you get a discounted rate at the room because the group is able to get that. You go to Vegas, you bowl, and then based on how you bowl, you earn some of that money back. So there's some big prizes that they give out. So it's a lot of fun. And I know Sean is a big bowler. Is that right, Sean?
Yeah, I haven't bowled as much. I bowled in the league last year, but from when I was a freshman in high school till now at 29 years old.
Did you bowl a perfect game, Sean? 300?
Yeah, but the Mike forgot when I mentioned it, but
Yeah, there's a little asterisk
it
there.
was it was a
Bumpers?
no tap doubles
Bumpers.
league, so nine pins count as a strike, but I only had two no taps that 300, and it made up for all the times where it was a legitimate 300, and I on the last shot or the second to last shot I threw a perfect ball and it left the 10 pin, which is the pin all the way to the right, in the corner, which oftentimes if you throw a perfect shot, it's supposed to flush right out, but they call them, those damn 10 pins for a reason. You throw a perfect shot and no pin hits it, it just goes all around it, and the pin just stays up there. And I lost a couple 300 games in high school off of that, so it made up for it. So it was still fun seeing the 300 up there, and but uh, it's funny. Mike asked, "Do you think Jake ever bowled?" And the same response you gave Jake was what I said, what I assumed about you. I was like, "Yeah, I don't think he ever
I
bowled in the
love
league,
that.
but he has fun. I bet he likes to bowl and has a good time." But
I like
yeah,
drinking. That's what I like doing.
yeah.
But I do
You
love.
can
I actually
drink.
really enjoy bowling.
Yeah.
Yeah, bowling's I like the old. I see Walter Ray down there, Norm Duke, and then you got Jason Belmonte, one of the current. He's one of the best out there right now. A lot of two-handed bowlers in today's game, but I started bowling. Not that anybody really cares, but I used to play basketball, and then when I was a freshman, I switched because in eighth grade the coaches that I had in my eighth grade team were going to coach JV, and I just wasn't vibing with them. I just didn't feel good with them as my coaches. And then the bowling team only had like 4 players left, and you need 10 to have a team. So I went to the signups, and then I knew a lot of people. I'm not that I was like the most popular kid ever, but a lot of people respected me and liked me. So I went around the next day. hey guys, join the bowling team. We need 5 more people so we can have a season this year. Like do it for me or whatever. We ended up having 25 people that year. We weren't any good that year, but when I was a sophomore, we won it's called sectionals. It's our form of playoffs in our high school division. We won the sectional title my sophomore year. Then I transferred schools. Then we went to sectionals. We got second because our second best bowler behind me punched a locker the week before and broke his wrist. So we had to put in a backup who wasn't as good. So we lost. And then my senior year, we went back to sectionals and we won that one. So it was, it was a sport I grew to love. And it's the kind of thing you could do like golf. You can do it until you can't move anymore.
Yeah.
My bowling coach, Dave Zabrowski, he was on the tour. He wasn't like Norm Duke or anything, but he had his pro card. He was what I think in his high 70s. He had arthritis and his knuckles were like as big as walnuts. And he could hardly move like he used to. But he would still go out there and throw the ball. It'd take him like 5 minutes to get ready to set up, but he would still go out there and throw the ball you know. So it's something that you can always have fun doing, and you know,
Yeah.
I was encouraging Mike to go on YouTube and watch some of the current major tournaments, and it's fun because the kids nowadays, not the kids, but the bowlers nowadays, the young guys, they get really hyped up, and it makes it exciting, and yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, so like I said, back in the day, I watched this all the time. You can still watch it. Pro Bowlers are still out there. They are on Fox now, FS1, and they also have their own streaming service which you can subscribe to. But a couple good stories here. So next to Marshall Holman, who was also just a character, it's just a guy you loved. He was one of those fiery guys that got you fired up and would make pretty much after he made a strike or something. I mean, he'd go a little crazy and really try to psych out his opponent. But next to him to the right is a gentleman named Brian Voss. Brian Voss is also in the top 10 of most money earned. He earned a little over 2.5 or 2.4 million. Story with him is that he served for the Army, and I think it was early 80s. I don't know if I have the years right, but I do know this. My dad was in Belgium serving for the Air Force. So he was stationed in Belgium, and there was a huge international tournament being held at his bowling alley there in Belgium. And again, this is how big bowling was. And teams would fly in from all over the world. So they had heard, my dad tells the story, he had heard Brian Voss was coming to this tournament. And sure enough, he did. And, lived up to the hype, pretty much dominated the tournament. And then in 1984, when I was living on the base with my dad in Riverside, California, there was I think it was the Riverside Open, and we went. My dad says, you know what, I want to. They have a pro-am where you can sign up and play with the pros, kind of like golf. There is a tournament that week as well, so we went, and my dad. Well, it was cool watching it. We got I wish I had the books though. We had the program with all the pro bowlers, and they were so cool. They'd sign it, no problem. And Brian Voss was there, and my dad's like, I know that guy. I remember him from Belgium. Went up to him. He didn't get to bowl with him, but he had a good conversation with him. Really nice guy. So good story. 1984, I got to go to see one of these tournaments. I think it was either the first or second day of the tournament. And this was before they have the big broadcast, the final broadcast. But yeah, it was cool deal. And then slowly, later 80s, 90s is when kind of there was a steady decline in pro bowling. But good stories here, man. And then, like you said, Sean, what's kind of cool in today's youth is there seems to be a big push on the two-handed bowling technique. And like you said, Jason Belmonte, he is the number one bowler in the world today. He's perfected it. And no matter what you say, people will say, you got to go two-handed. It's not true. There's only a few two-handed bowlers in the world that are doing really well. It's very hard to control the ball. You get the most spin with it. But I don't know if you've ever tried it, Sean. I haven't. I can't change my style now, and
yeah,
pretty cool.
Mike, what do you average? What do you average, Mike?
So when I was bowling back in my days, I was around a 175 average.
Nice.
Not too bad, but I had some of my big days as well. 279, I think was my highest, something like that. but yeah, it just wasn't consistent enough. But man, when I would always anchor my team, and when it was on the line, though, buddy, let me just say I was
Oh yeah,
clutch. I was clutch.
ice in your veins. I love it. Heck yeah.
Duncan, no to your question. On our mock draft, they did not get Xavier Leggett. So sorry.
Duncan, you're always on time. By the way,
passed on
Xavier
him.
Leggett is my guy as well. I
Yeah.
want the Bills to get him at 28 if he's I mean, he probably will be there at 28. I know he's been going anywhere between late first to even early third, which is insane. I think he's absolutely worth a first round talent. People just got to see it. I know. I think a lot of people are just concerned with his production, just because this was like his only breakout season in college. So I think people are a little concerned about that. But the kid is mature. The kid is fast as hell. He even offers value as a returner, and I love him. I'm a huge fan of Xavier Leggett, and yeah, it would be a great get for either of our teams, honestly.
Yeah. Again, too, in that 1984 tournament, the gentleman below Brian Voss was Mark Roth. And if you don't know Mark Roth, then I don't know where you've been. Just a dude who had like this. They always talked about his thumb. His thumb was in such bad shape because he just really had it in the thumb hole tight. He had a massive swing and a massive rotation. The two-handed approach now is to give you that more rotation. It's supposed to give you that. Just blow up the pocket when it hits the pins. But anyhow, wanted to bring this up because, something I enjoyed as a kid. It's still out there. I want people to know that. And, I also wanted to challenge Jake to see if he's been a bowler, because if you're in Buffalo, you better be a bowler, my friend. And I know
absolutely.
Sean
Listen, wings, beers, bowling, they all mix. It's beautiful. In Buffalo, you get the perks of having nice buffalo wings with it, with blue cheese. You get your fingers all, greased up, and then you go and you throw a bowling ball. If you bowl a 300 in Buffalo, it's even more impressive because your fingers are usually very greasy, like I said, from the wings. So, little added adversity.
And being in a league is like one of the most fun things you can do, especially with your friends. Again, it's just an opportunity for you to get together and just chill and talk about things, try to win a bowling match, but catch up, have some good food. I mean, John, it's incredible. So I encourage a lot of people to get into a league if you can.
Support.
Yeah, how about Pete Weber, by the way? You ever see the video, Mike, of his quote? He's like, "Who do you think you are? I am." It's amazing. I
have not
highly encourage. Oh, listen, right after this, I want you to go YouTube it. Just type
that was
in
a big
Pete
win.
Weber, who do you think you are? And then he goes, "I am." And it makes no sense, but it is like a great soundbite, and it is electric. It's hilarious. I love it.
He was always that like he would get he would snap
arrogant a little bit.
He would snap at the littlest thing.
Yeah.
If someone in this he could even know if someone's whispering or tapping his foot or something, he would stop and start yelling at the people in the stands. And that's funny though, because he would do that and still be able to calm down and throw strikes. And it's when you're up, when you stand up, and it always happened to me when I was at my 300 games. I do everything the same. I take the same amount of seconds to get my ball. I wipe my ball off the same way every time. I put my fingers in the ball the same way. I walk up to the approach the same way. I take the same amount of steps. I throw it the same line, whatever. And it always was the last two shots when I had a perfect game going, where all of a sudden I either rushed or took too long because I was like, oh, I gotta calm down. I'm shaking. My heart's beating a million miles a minute. And then, I think I got 297 twice, 287, 291. I just, not 291, but
composure, man.
Yeah.
It's nerve-wracking for sure. And this is how important bowling is to me. You see my dad. He met my mom in a bowling alley. That's how important
I
things
love it.
are. Some of those other players I want to mention because Earl Anthony. I'm not Earl. Yeah, it was Earl Anthony. He's the left-handed bowler there, right below Tom Baker and next to Pete Weber. And dude, he had the smoothest release. It was slow. One of the best probably the best lefty of all time. Just fantastic. And he was just smooth as heck. And then you got Norm Duke out there. Walter Ray Williams, you mentioned him.
Yep, one of my favorites.
Sean, he is the top money winner, over $5.5 million.
Yeah. And that wasn't even, and that was, he was doing that before the real money started happening. Money $5 million 15 years ago is probably like $50 million in today's money. So yeah, he was. And his father was a good bowler too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And they also, I mean, they still have their tournaments. They're I forget what it is, US Open. They have a US Open or a Masters
Yep,
Championship.
they got Masters, Opens, Majors. Yeah.
Yeah, they pay $100,000 to the winner. So there's still some good money. Just not as much as back in the day. But it could come back. I think a lot more youth as I go to these when I do go to the bowling alleys, I'm seeing a lot younger people, and that's the key. That's the key to getting the PBA back to where it was, is getting these younger bowlers engaged again, and and keeping the sport alive. And again, I think they do need to do a better promotion. Maybe use social media a little bit more. PBA, if you want to talk to us, let us know. We'll do the social media marketing for you.
One, yeah, right.
Right, and I mean,
we'll get you to number one.
It's so much fun to watch it. I mean, I love the one-on-one battles. It's fantastic. They have team battles now. They do some fun stuff, but man, let's go. Let's get bowling back on the mainstream TV. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
So anyhow, I think that was a lot of fun there. Let me stop sharing that. Big L, I would have loved to hear if Big L was a bowler. Maybe did he meet your mom at a bowling alley? I'd like to know.
No, he met her at Super Duper. You remember that store, Mike?
Oh yeah, Super. Of
yeah,
course,
that's where they met. He was bagging groceries. My mom was a cashier, and I guess he was just a big clown.
God, I love it.
They were like teenagers, 16 and 17 years old, and yeah, rest is history.
So they weren't. They didn't.
She was
meet
the
in
cashier.
school.
He was bagging the groceries.
That's so cool.
He said he used to mess around so much at that job. Like he was just. Some great stories.
He got all he needed to out of it. He got the girl. So
yep, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So cool stuff, guys. That was a lot of fun. Again, thank you all in the channel. Yeah, somebody came in. Is this a bowling pod? No, we go all over the place, man. We started the show with our mock draft.
I mean, we do a golf pod, right? So
we have a golf pod on our channel. We kind of do a little bit of everything on this one, and we talk a lot of football, a lot of Bills, but in the off season we like to vary it, change it up a little bit. So
I was just gonna say, can you tell it's the off season now? I mean, we're talking about bowling, that
right.
UFL coming up though. We're less than a month, or I think we're a little more than a month away. Actually, March 30th, I want to say, is the first game for that. So maybe next week we'll talk a little UFL, Mike.
I don't know where Battlehawk is. I think he's still mad at The Rock saying that
he changed his name.
Was the unwatchable football league. Unwatchable football league is what The Rock said.
He changed his name again, Mike.
He was in here? No way.
He was.
Nah,
I swear.
I don't believe it. Because I was watching close. Nah, I don't see it.
Here it is. Birmingham Stallions primetime. AJ McCarron is back. Former Buffalo Bill for like a couple weeks. AJ McCarron. Love it.
Wow. Chad saying my parents met at work. You know, my first wife met at McDonald's. I was working the grill. She was a cashier.
There we go.
That's his history.
Underwhelming football.
That's why I say, unwatchable football league. I love your take on it too.
It's still football though. Like end of the day, like, if you're a football guy, you're a football guy. No,
I have so many other watch sports that I like. I got the saber hockey.
Yeah, I'm still watching it all.
Okay,
that's my thing. I mean, it's my poor wife. She doesn't get a break. God bless her. Seriously,
yeah, definitely God bless her. You need to take some time and spend some time with her,
right?
I do. Our good friend Brett, who I forget what resort they went to, he's on his honeymoon with Hannah and
Bahamas.
And we have a group chat. And he's talking football today. I'm like, dude, go enjoy your honeymoon, man.
He's doing mock drafts on the beach. Hilarious.
Yeah. We got, you might see the rush hour talking baseball here because we got Sean who loves baseball. I'm a big baseball fan. Jake, don't know where you sit on the baseball fence. Where do you sit on that? You dabble a little bit.
I dabble. Yep.
Cool. All right, man. Well, that was a lot of fun. So, Sean, I want to say, first of all, thank you for joining us. As always, you have a lot of great takes. And, if you haven't seen Sean, if you haven't, I don't know, you must be living under a rock. He's been on our shows a lot. Go over to the Red, White, and Bill's YouTube channel. Subscribe to his channel. He's fantastic. And thanks, Sean. Any closing thoughts for you, my friend?
Oh, well, I appreciate the kind words, Mike. And, you don't have to lie. but I mean, it's always nice to hear that the nice stuff from you. But no, I appreciate you guys having me on again. It's it's only the second time I did a show since we lost the playoff game. I did one Wednesday with the Finns tailgate with Shake Money, and I did this one. So the content will start coming again soon, and I always appreciate you guys letting me come on your platform and talking about the team we love and with the team we hate because they make us sad. But we're really gonna kick it into gear with the free agency in a little bit, and then the mock drafts and the drafting and all. And then before you know it, it'll be the same thing as next year. We're gonna look good. We're gonna make the playoffs. We're gonna lose to the Chiefs. The Chiefs are gonna win a Super Bowl.
No.
Rinse and repeat.
No, you know why?
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah, that's gonna
Chad's
happen
gonna
again.
actually watch a game next year, and
Yeah, that's
we're gonna
right.
end up beating the Chiefs. Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
If we can pay Chad enough money to watch a game,
Yeah, Chad, we'll trade
we
for
got a
your points.
chance. We got
we'll
a
start
chance.
GoFundMe's for please.
GoFundMe.
Please,
There we go.
we gotta make Chad watch this football game.
Yeah.
Or we
But
got
yeah, I
to
appreciate you guys though, and I always love working with you, and can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, gonna
Always,
be
man.
fun. We have a couple of Chiefs. Right, we had Duncan come in a little late. KC. We had Chad. We had Weston. Hey, we need to get you guys on the pod. We welcome all. All teams, all fan bases, right, Jake? And by the way, Jake, I got to say, I keep looking at that shirt. You look damn good in it. You got the new haircut going on. I mean, you just got it all going on, man. So those thoughts from you, my friend.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, no, it was a great show. Big Stitching Embroidery, guys.
Yeah.
Check them out in the description below. My cousin's business. It's a small business. It's right here in Buffalo. Got a lot of cool designs. He can do custom designs as well. So if you have a suggestion, send him a logo. It's good stuff. It's good quality stuff. He's going to be hooking us up with some Nickel City Mafia merch. So we're fired up about it. And thank you all for watching. It was a great show as always.
Yeah, love it. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Again, if you're new to the channel, I always forget to say this, but and most people didn't even make it to the end of the show. Nice to have Josh Allen on the podcast today. Absolutely.
And I love it, man. Thank you.
I mean, what better perk to come watch the Nickel City Rush Hour and see Josh Allen talk football? And let me just say this, Jake and Sean, they know their stuff, man. They're like encyclopedias. You can ask them questions when they weren't even born. Although we did stump Jake today. I'm a little
screwed up today, though.
Disappointed. Yeah. Go check out the little trivia questions that we gave him early on in the show. It was just tell us who the number one wide receivers that the Bills drafted throughout their history. Struggled a little bit. I'm a little shocked, Jake, I gotta say.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where my mind was at.
Disappointed.
Listen, JD Hill, I should have got.
JD Hill for sure.
Perry Tuttle's
a tough one. Yeah, that one would have been extremely tough. But I still think it would have come up in one of your trivia things that you do.
I know who they all are. I mean, they're in my mind there. I can see their pictures in my head. I just
all right, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Take care, everyone.
Take care. Go Bills.
Pro bowling. Get into the league.